so excited to speak to you because I mean, this kid Erik Gronwall is like a new life for this band. And you know, I talked to Snake earlier when the Gangs All Here came out, and he credits you for really being the catalyst of bringing Erik Gronwall into the band. What was it about this kid that really made you want to make the move to make him the new Skid Row singer?
Man, it's all started just like hearing his voice. It all started. We were going on tour, and his band. Oops, sorry about that. His band Heat, who opened for Skid Row. The band Heat that he was in at the time were opening for Skid Row, and they and I had to approve the video spot that they were using in Europe and the UK. And that's the first time I heard his voice. And I was like, what is this, man? This dude sings really amazing, like really amazing. And so then I went down like a Heat rabbit hole, and I was like, holy crap, this guy's really good. And I was psyched to see them because of that. And we were doing some gigs, and we were listening from the dressing room, and we were all like, wow, this dude sings really good. And I went and I watched a couple shows from the side of the stage. And during the course of those few weeks, found out that he won Sweden Idol. Like, wow, that's really cool. That's great. Maybe one, we gotta exchange numbers or something. I'm thinking in my head, maybe when we have Skid Row has some downtime, we'll maybe side project or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
We said hello passing in the hallway, I think once, never exchanged numbers, never anything. Anyway, fast forward to this year, and when we knew we were going to make a change, I'm like, man, I'm going to reach out to that dude, Erik, because he's just like, I think where his vocal sit would fit Skid Row really well. Not knowing at the time that when he auditioned for Idol, he auditioned with 18 in Life. Yeah. And he won that year. And so I didn't know any of that at that point. But anyway, contacted him via Instagram and just kind of shot him a real. It's funny because he sent me, he had it in his Instagram and messages, and he sent it to me yesterday. He goes, here's where it all started, dude.
Cool. That's really cool.
So, yeah, so then that's how we started the ball rolling. And I asked him, hey, man, here's my email. I got a couple questions I want to ask you. If you're interested, just hit me up. He did, like, right away. And then we got on a Zoom just like this and talked. And, it was just basically to fill in for a few shows we may have had to lose.
Right.
But they were really soon. And for those who don't know it, he had leukemia. So he had a complete bone marrow transplant. And his doctors didn't suggest he fly and do stuff like that. So anyway, then we sent them a couple songs by the urging of our producer, Nick Raskulinix, and he goes, send him a couple songs, see what he sounds like on them. And they came back within 24 hours when we were all flipping out, man. Yeah. Flipping out. So that's how it all happened. And we asked him to be in the band, and thankfully he said yes.
He was a big Skid Row fan though, growing up as well. So like, was there a point where you thought that, oh well, maybe he's just a fanboy? I mean, did he ever come across as a fanboy when you guys actually finally met him?
No, not at all. Not at all. When we asked him to be in the band, it was Snake and myself on the Zoom, and we said, would you like to be the new singer for Skid Row? And he just kind of did this, and he looked down at the ground, and I'm like, oh God, he's going to say no. This is such a bummer, man. This is such a bummer. And I'm like, Erik, are you still there? He's like, yes, of course I do, man. He goes, I'm just trying to process. But no, it was never fanboy or anything. But he like you said, he grew up listening. We're one of his favorite bands, as well as like Sammy Hagar and AC/DC and all the stuff that a lot of the stuff we listen to. And there's a decent age gap, but he listens. Like, what got him started singing is like his dad is a musician, and he listened to bands from the 50s and the 60s,
Right.
and that's what got Erik going, and then just worked its way up to heavier rock like us and Sammy Hagar and and stuff like AC/DC and stuff like that. And he just fits in. We all fit in together so well, I should say, because we're all music fans. We all
Right.
love music, and this is all we want to do, is play music and create music. That's it. That's all we want to do. We all have the same work ethic. We have another creative person in our camp, and it's nonstop with him. Like, hey man, you want to write? Here's an idea. Whether he's in Sweden or staying at the house here or whatever, it's always like, hey, you want to get in your studio? I got an idea. Okay, cool. And I love that, man. Like, I love creating, like,
Right.
all day long until I have
Right.
to, pay a bill or something like that. And then, or clean the cat box.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just love creating stuff,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he seems like he's got that hunger that I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it was missing from Skid Row, because you guys always had it. You guys have been on, we've opened for you guys a bunch of times, and you guys have been hitting that grind for forever.
Mhm.
Now bringing in this young kid who has that hunger,
Yeah.
that might have been missing, is really,
Yeah, it's a different level now,
Yeah.
as we all agree. We call him the game changer because he really has. And the fact that here we are, over 35 years into a career, and now we're all just as excited as we were that day that we signed with Atlantic Records. We have a record coming out in a few days. It's funny, like the Scotty, Snake, and myself, that were referred to as the elders.
come on,
we
man.
we when Rob Hammersmith joined the band, it ignited something inside us from a musical standpoint. It's like, wow, this guy is so rock solid and
Right.
just so powerful, and that set a fire under three of our asses. And then we went on and we played and played a lot and made a couple EPs. And then when Erik joined the band, it did the same thing to all four of us. It elevated us, and just it's the vibe that's around, like when we're in a bus or in a van or just in the dressing room. It's so positive, and we just have so many laughs, and it's
That's
it
great.
is definitely elevated this band without a doubt.
So when I spoke to Snake a few months back, before, when Gangs All Here came out, he mentioned that this recording process was very different for him because he says he's technologically challenged. So he said that, like, this whole thing of recording and then sending the track to Erik and then Erik sending it back to you guys, from Sweden, was different for him. And he's also made comments about, like even recording on a bus was weird for him, or something, like just recording something into a computer was different from. How did you view this process with Erik, sending the tracks out and having him send it back?
It didn't bother me at all, but yeah, Snake shies away from technology from time to time.
Right.
We're always busting his balls about it. It's like, I think he had his iPhone 1 until about a week ago. No, I'm just kidding. But when we started it was just, it's just the way it had to be. His doctor didn't want him traveling. Plus there was, all kinds of COVID regulations for him getting back into Sweden. So it's like, I can't come over and then not go home with his wife and kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, and Nick kept a close eye on him, and said, "Hey man, try this setting on a compressor and try this mic and blah, blah, blah." So he did it and he recorded it and it sounded great. And Nick is like, "Man, this dude really knows what he's doing." Well, okay, so we did 80% of the album at his house. The other two songs he did in Las Vegas, when we were doing the residency with the Scorpions on a couple days off. And that was World on Fire and Nowhere Fast. And so we did that. And all the vocal tracks were done. Awesome. So him and I are having a beer at a bar, and we're just waiting for our food to come, and we're sitting at a bar in Vegas and drinking a beer. And I go, man, you nailed it on the vocals, dude. I said, you really crushed it, and I'm really proud of you, and I'm really happy how it all came out. How do you feel? He goes, man, I do. I feel really good about it. He goes, I got to tell you a secret. I go, what? And he goes, I have never recorded my vocals before. I had to learn off of YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. And I just look at him like, I am so glad I did not know any of this before you did it, because I would have no hair right now. It would all have fallen out from stress. And
Wow.
we got a good laugh over that, man. But he really did a great job. And you know, Nick too, he was like, man, it sounds really good. Everything Erik is doing, the recordings are really good, really easy to work with, and he did a great job. But
I'm blown away right now. He just learned off of YouTube and just recorded
off of YouTube, and he had to learn crossfading and all this stuff.
What?
And, yeah. So I was like, man, I'm just so glad I didn't know it. But Erik is that guy, you know. It's
right.
Like, you know, I just recently found out that he played piano because I walked in the dressing room and he was singing one of our songs to piano. I'm like, oh, you do that too? Awesome. You know? Yeah, but he doesn't talk about it. He once told me, he's like, yeah, I was in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar. I was like, cool. I said, that's definitely one of my favorite musicals.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. That's all he said. And then I find out it was the Jesus Christ Superstar on NBC with John Legend and Alice Cooper a few years back. And I'm like, so I call him. I was like, I was in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Seriously, that's it. That's where the conversation ends. But he doesn't, you know, it's just because it came up. He doesn't you know,
float about it.
Give his resume to you.
Right,
you know,
right.
That's just the kind of guy he is. And that's the kind of guys we are. So everything just fits perfect with this band now.
So you guys have been touring all summer. Yeah, you know, I've nothing but positive feedback online.
Yep.
Of your performances. And has Erik been getting positive feedback? I guess a lot from the live audiences. And can you finally put a squash on all the reunion chatter?
Yeah, that's pretty much a dead issue now.
Good,
you know,
good. I'm sure Robert Fusel will be, you know, really.
It's funny. It's like, you know, some people are just can't adjust to change, and that's fine. That's their hang up. It's not my hang up. All I could say is if I didn't like welcome change or accept change, I should say, I would never have listened to Back in Black. You know what I mean?
You're right.
I would never listen to a lot of, you know, Iron Maiden records, a lot of Van Halen records, and Deep Purple records. It goes on and on and on. Black Sabbath, you know what I mean?
Kiss.
So yeah, Kiss. So, you know, if people don't like change, they don't like change. All I know is I do, and as it is right now, get used to it or see ya.
No, people are getting used to it because the videos I've seen, he sounds amazing. You guys look happy on stage. You guys look great on stage. The attitude is there. I mean, it's everything that I loved about Skid Row is there. You know?
That's great. That's great. That's been the general consensus, is that people are just like, wow, you guys are back. And I love hearing that. I love hearing that. You know, it sucks that, we were kind of gone, whether musically or for whatever reason. But when a hardcore Skid Row fan says, wow, you guys are back. This is the Skid Row I fell in love with, you know, since '89 to now.
Right.
That's huge. That's really huge. And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't get lost on us either.
Well, I mean, you guys never really went away. It's just, you know, it's just something new again. Just
yeah, absolutely. It is a rebirth, you know.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Speaking of touring, I've noticed that you've been traveling very light lately, traveling with the luggage, coming around the carousel.
Oh,
I mean, with the airport security catch on or what?
And so far, knock on wood, I've been all right.
Oh, what is Rachel doing? He's like always like coming through the carousels on the luggage.
Yeah, it's so funny now. It's like the guys are like, "Hey, dude, I got an idea," or our crew guys like, "I got a really cool idea for your baggage claim thing." It's like, all right, shoot.
Hilarious. First time I
Yeah.
saw it, and then it started. It was happening like almost every other day. I'm like, what's this?
Yeah, it'd be great. We're flying to Portland, so maybe
It'll be a new one.
well, why don't come up tomorrow?
Okay, so last question. So I bought some soap recently called Dirty Rocker Soap.
Oh, nice, thanks, man.
And my wife, whose name is Layla as well,
Okay. Oh, wow.
said that it sounds gross. I told her it was Rachel Bolan soap, and she asked if he made it from his stage sweat. But seriously, I mean, how did this business venture evolve?
Well, it just a long time ago, like pre-pandemic, I just had an idea because I'm looking, we have our coffee and we're coming out with a few other things, hot sauces, and every artist has that kind of stuff. I'm like, what doesn't an artist have? And I thought, wow, soap, why not? Why not soap? And it was just festering in my brain. And then a friend of mine who actually manufactures some of the soap we have she makes her own. She has her own company. So she gave me one and I took it on the road. And I was like, wow, this is a lot different than what I've been using out on the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have her teach me how to make it and start there. And then the two of us will make it and my girlfriend will make. And so that's how it all came about. And the name Dirty Rocker, the whole time, after I thought of it, I was just getting the trademarks and the licensing and all that stuff together. And I was like, when I have time, if I ever have time, and then boom, 2020, and I had all the time in the world. So I launched it in April, 4 different scents, and it sold out in a couple hours. And I'm like, all right, I'm on to something. Let me see. So I had my friend make some more, double the amount, and that sold. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start coming up with different formulas as well with my girlfriend. She came up with some ideas and I came up with some ideas, and then now we're up to 12, and it's still going, man. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So a few retail stores and shit like that.
I always wanted to ask one of you Skid Row guys that so back in the late '80s, John Bon Jovi gave you guys an opportunity of a lifetime to open for him on his New Jersey tour. He even called it the Brotherhood tour, or the Jersey Syndicate tour, whatever. Is there any chance that we may ever see Skid Row pay it forward and give a young band that opportunity? I'm not asking for personal reasons. I'm just asking if there's ever a chance.
Yeah. I mean, it was that was a great tour, but yeah, we always try to pick our opening bands as much as we can with the way we do it. But we've been doing fly dates for so many years that it's just kind of either it's just us or it's us and our bands like Warrant and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's always a really good bill, and there's a lot of nostalgia there. But yeah, getting on the road, there's a few bands we've been talking about where we're like, man, if we get a routed tour, or once we get a routed tour, we got to take these guys out a little here, maybe these guys over here, because we know what it's like. And now I think it's even harder to for someone to take you seriously if the only time they see you is on YouTube or online.
Sure.
People want to see you live.
Yeah, they do. Sure.
So, but yeah, we're totally open to that.